This footage was captured by a home security camera and documents a deeply unsettling encounter. A man reaches toward his bookshelf to grab something to read, when out of nowhere, a dark, shadowy form moves in and appears to yank him away. Watch closely as the man stands there absorbed in whatever he's reading, completely unaware that the door behind him swings open by itself, before this mysterious figure comes charging straight at him. What makes it even more chilling is how it seems to physically drag him off to parts unknown. Whether this is a genuine paranormal event or an elaborately staged hoax is something only you can decide. Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. Employees at the Mulder Hospital morgue in India were left rattled after reviewing disturbing recordings captured by an outdoor security camera on the premises. The footage showed body transport stretchers moving completely on their own with no one nearby, sending shockwaves through the staff. A skeptic might argue that hidden wires could account for the movement, but the stretcher travels in several different directions, forward, backward, and even side to side, which would demand a surprisingly complex rigging setup to pull off. In a separate piece of footage, a morgue attendant walks up to one of the stretchers, and what unfolds in the next moment stops him dead in his tracks. So does this video stand as undeniable proof that something supernatural is haunting the morgue? Or is there a perfectly rational explanation waiting to be uncovered? That's for you to judge. A man shared footage from his home security system showing an invisible force apparently attacking his wife during a heated phone argument.
I told you I needed more help cleaning up this house. I can't do all this stuff by myself. I have all this laundry in the kitchen and dishes and everything else I gotta do. I know you're at work, so when you come home from work, you can help me a little bit. Is that too much to ask? That's dirty. Oh, this is just getting ridiculous.
It started with her pacing around the living room, going back and forth with him on the call. The dispute was clearly intense, but then out of nowhere the door slammed shut and she was shoved backward by something unseen.
Stuff laying on the floor too. Oh,
Terrified, she began screaming for her husband. She grabbed the door handle and tried to force it open, but it wouldn't move. And then, just when things couldn't get any stranger, whatever was in that room with her started hurling objects off the surfaces around her. She completely lost it, frantically yanking at the door once more, and this time it swung open. She didn't hesitate for a single second before bolting out. So what do you think? Was there something supernatural going on in that room? TikTok user Stephen M. Crabtree was going about his day when a deeply unsettling moment stopped him in his tracks, leaving him shaken and genuinely concerned for the safety of his home and his kids. Whatever happened, he still hasn't been able to make sense of it. Judge for yourself. Out of nowhere, a green ball made contact with his back, not hurled with any real force, but unmistakably there. Stephen says his wife had been confined to bed with an illness for 2 days, and his son was parked in the living room on a tablet, which means nobody in the house was in a position to have thrown it. You might wonder if it simply fell and rolled into him, but that doesn't hold up. The trajectory made it clear the ball had been launched at him. Some people in the comments argued it was all a setup, yet the angle of impact and the raw nature of his reaction just don't support that idea. So what's your take on this one? Drop your thoughts below. A man named John was exploring the infamous haunted woodland at the foot of Mount Fuji in Aokigahara, Japan. The forest carries a dark reputation, largely because a staggering number of people have ended their lives within its boundaries, leaving behind a legacy of paranormal claims. And the setting itself only adds to the unease. The forest stretches across more than 14 square miles and took root on a thick lava bed left behind by a Mount Fuji eruption over 1,162 years ago. All that volcanic rock is packed with iron, which wreaks havoc on compasses and GPS signals alike, making it remarkably easy to become completely disoriented in there. Despite all of that, John decides to venture deep into the forest entirely on his own, and what his camera picks up is something that's genuinely hard to explain away. Pay close attention to what unfolds.
Wow. It's definitely a little eerie just walking through it, knowing I came here once before, honestly. Missing kid sign, last spotted. Honestly, if you guys can translate this, please let me know in the comments if you know what this means or anything. There's just so much strings to guide you all the way back. What the heck? Like, as you guys can see, it's the craziest thing because what they're suggesting is that someone came here on their birthday to unalive themselves. I was wandering, we found this, and we're just trying to figure out what happened, understand it more. It's really sad though. And if you look over here, this is the tent inside the forest. So look at this. You end up finding written pages of a journal. What's this? But you can also see they were trying to burn it too, like almost letting go of the past. And she got a birthday cake.
Now John himself doesn't catch it in the moment, but right as he steps into the tent, a pair of legs and bare feet are briefly visible beneath the gap at the bottom, before vanishing just as quickly, without so much as a whisper of sound. He had absolutely no clue until viewers flagged it in the comments section. He did go on to search the entire tent and the area around it, and found not a single person. So the question has to be asked, could this be the spirit of someone who lost their life somewhere within these very woods? A TikTok account known as Palo is not the kind of page you'd associate with anything supernatural. Their content is almost entirely made up of Spanish language quotes and nothing more. Yet one specific clip from this account has genuinely caught our attention. It was filmed aboard a subway train as it passed through Iglesia metro station, situated in the Chabri district of Madrid, Spain. This particular stop is among the oldest in the entire metro system, and over the years, countless people have reported picking up on strange, inexplicable sounds, eerie noises drifting up from the depths of the tunnels below. We're going to let this footage play out so you can try to catch the unsettling detail yourself before we break it all down. As Nuke points out, did you catch that? Let's pull in for a much closer examination. As the train pulls away from Iglesia Station and moves through the pitch-black tunnel ahead, everything appears completely normal at first glance. But the moment the train reaches its next stop and breaks out of the darkness, direct your eyes toward the deserted platform entrance. Standing there in the shadows, plain as day, is the silhouette of a girl in all white, with long flowing hair, completely motionless. She feels deeply out of place against the backdrop of that empty station. When we zoom in and sharpen the image, something about her appearance sets off alarm bells. She doesn't quite look like a living person. So here's the question. Is this a tormented spirit wandering the ancient underground passages of Madrid, or just an ordinary commuter who happened to pick the most unnerving spot imaginable to wait? The TikTok account shown here belongs to a man who has been posting videos about disturbing encounters he claims are happening inside his new home. Ever since he moved in, he noticed his pet cat started acting very differently. It won't come downstairs at all, choosing instead to stay up in the bedroom.
Right, I'm freaking out a little bit here because I'm not one to believe in ghosts and all that kind of shit, but ever since my cat moved in, weird. So that's her in the corridor now. When I first moved in, she was sat on the sofa right here and she just kept looking really fast into the corridor and then like just turning back and just acting normal and then just shooting up, like jumping down onto the floor to have a look in the corridor to see what's going on. Nothing going on. And then I went to bed on the same night. She started doing it when I was in the bed with her. And then when she did it, I heard this bang right after she'd looked. And that creeped me out a bit. But now, she's just refusing to go downstairs. And this freaks me out because I literally just had a nightmare where I was in my flat, but it had more than one story. And the further down I went, Pennywise from it was like inside the objects. So like, I don't know, like a random box or like the keyboard, like Pennywise was like inside of it and he'd morph, the object would morph into Pennywise. So I needed to keep going upstairs to avoid it. And now my cat is refusing to come downstairs right after I've woken up from that dream. It's like, I'm not saying Pennywise is hiding inside my keyboard, but she's creeping me out a bit. Like, she's hungry, she's meowing for food. She's meowing for food and she won't come down and eat a tuna that I've just put out for her. She loves tuna. It's like, come on. Come on. Corey, come and get some tuna. She just won't. She wasn't like this yesterday. Like, come on, Corey, come and get some food. I know you're hungry. She's not interested in coming downstairs. Like, is there something down here that I can't see? Because that's what it felt like when I first brought her to this flat or house. When I first brought her here, like when I was by myself, everything was fine, and then she was just like funny about the corridor that she's in now, just like she is now with downstairs. Like she didn't want to come downstairs. There's nothing here. Maybe.
You can clearly see the cat appears frightened by something on the lower floor and absolutely refuses to descend. What makes it even more unsettling is that he mentions having a nightmare that same night, and when he woke up, the cat was behaving exactly the same way. A couple of hours later, he picked up his camera again, and here's what unfolded.
Right, so a few hours have passed and my cat's still acting strange. Getting a really creepy vibe now in this house. Don't know what's going on. So she's just hiding now. She's not. Come here, Corey. She's never like this. She always comes to me. She's still not gone down and eaten a tuna. You coming down, Corey? There's nothing downstairs. Tuna's still there. And she's not eating all day, so I know she's getting old. Hopefully she's not coming to the end of her life, and maybe that's what's going on. But it's creeping me out a little bit now. Come on, Corey. She's not even coming for the dreamies. Come here. Come on. Why do you not want to go downstairs, Corey? Come on. Come on. Oh, she doesn't want to come. She doesn't want to leave. Come here. Come on. Right, I'm going to carry her downstairs and see if she'll go downstairs this way. Right. There you go, Corey, there's your food. She did come down for a taste of it earlier. She came down, had a little bite, and I came down. She just freaked out and ran upstairs. Corey. Come on. Come back down. It's just straight back upstairs. Not interested in whatever's down here. Well, like I said, I'm not big into ghosts and stuff. Not really a big believer in that kind of stuff, but he's given...
He even tried luring her down with her favorite treats, but she still wouldn't budge. At one point, he physically carried her downstairs, only for her to bolt straight back up. Some viewers in the comments suspected he might be frightening the cat himself, so to address that, he put out another video to set the record straight.
I do a little follow-up video to my last couple of videos where my cat's been acting strange. I've had a few people saying that the cat doesn't like me, and like saying that, oh, what are you doing to that poor cat, and things like that. And I've right off. Like, she loves me. I've never done anything to hurt her. And she's a lovely cat. Like, she's got no problem with me. Whatever's downstairs. Like, I'm not planning on doing some ghost TikTok account. That's not my plan. But who knows? I don't know what's going on. Right, so this is my last video on the topic, because don't start getting old. But whilst I was up here going for a little night walk, I just remembered something. Before I got my cat back, I was in that house for about a month or two, like by myself. And I went through a period where I was doing like shadow work through lucid dreaming, that kind of stuff. And before I did that, I had a big fear of the dark, and that's been overcome now. I'm not scared of the dark, but just completely left my mind until I came up here. So over there is my house, and I'm not doing this for views or anything like that. I just wanted to explain something. You probably can't see much, but that right there is my house. And I remember in the top left window, right there, that one right in the middle, I saw like a silhouette of a person, and my door was locked and it's just me living there, but I saw someone in the window. Now, if I was doing this for views, I'd just get someone to go down there and stand in the window. But I'm not doing this for views. I just thought it was worth mentioning, because obviously there's something weird going on in my house. But yeah, I wasn't too concerned, because I have mild hallucinations from time to time. So when I see something like that, I tend to just brush it off, because the chances that someone were in my actual flat when the door's locked is very slim. But
he also brought up that sometime earlier, he thought he'd spotted a figure standing at the window, but he dismissed it because he occasionally experiences mild hallucinations. What he hadn't considered was that this might have only been the start of something much worse. On a separate day, he began filming his cat once more, and this is what the camera picked up.
Right, I just filmed my last video and she just came downstairs making a weird noise. Like, okay. I'm a bit worried about her at this point. She's booked in for the vets tomorrow, so hopefully she's all right. But my last cat, you all right? Oh, I'm really worried about her. Come here. Yeah, my last cat, who died, he made this really loud, weird meow, and then he just went limp and died. Just out of nowhere. He was fit and healthy. That was Corey's son, Moses. He was called. He was a lovely cat. He's in one of my older videos, playing with the Jar Jar Binks teddy. Yeah, that happened. So hopefully she'll be all right. That was really weird. Well, I didn't catch it on camera. She just came downstairs. Well, I didn't even know she was here. I was just peeling the reduced stickers off of these Mr. Kiplings so I could give them to a friend, and he'd think that I'd paid for them full price. And basically, yeah, I was just doing that, and she just like did this really weird meow, and it wasn't as scary as when Moses did that, because when he did that meow, I knew something was wrong. I went running to him, and he was just, well, he died within like 5 minutes. It was horrible, but yeah, I hope nothing like that happens to her. You all right, Corey? You want to come back down? Well, she came downstairs, so that's progress. But it's weird, it's like she was trying to tell me something.
He was recounting what had happened just moments before, as the cat had bolted upstairs yet again. But right as he was wrapping up the recording, an audible whisper cuts through saying, "Get out." The moment he posted the video, viewers picked up on it instantly and flooded the comments, all agreeing something was seriously off inside that house. And as more days passed, the situation only grew more disturbing.
A little update video regarding the situation. So this Christmas, first Christmas I've spent alone, which is horrible, but yeah, this Christmas I've just been looking at pictures on my computer, and I've got a few pictures saved of my flat. Like when I got some comments, I got a few comments basically saying to take some pictures in my house to, well, it was some kind of psychic or something. I don't really believe in that kind of stuff, but someone saying that they can see things that other people can't see. So I've got some of them saved on my computer, and I was looking at some of them over Christmas, and yeah, it is creeped me out a bit. Just have a look. Right, so this is my corridor. At first glance, like when I took the picture, I didn't see anything, but then I noticed here, and it's really hard to see because it's in the shadows, but like, I don't even know if the camera can pick that up. Like, it kind of looks like it's probably just a bit of pareidolia with my coats, because that's where my coats are hung. But then I looked at another picture here, and you can see the coats aren't positioned like that. So like, this is the other picture, and it looks like a fucking hand or something. And I would just put that down to pareidolia, but then when you look at this one, there's nothing there. So yeah, knows what that is. I'll take the camera down. There's Corey, by the way. She's just having a little sleep. Oh, well, it's a bit different because I've taken all my coats off to wash them, but I don't know, like if I try and recreate it, I think I had a light on in the background, and then I didn't have the flash on. So like, I mean, it just looks pitch black there. Turn this light on. And it's almost impossible to recreate it now because my coats are, well, just hanging up there drying because I've just washed them all. But yeah, knows. Like, I don't have a fucking clue. Like, it's creepy as fuck. I did a video just before, well, I tried recording a video before, and it didn't catch it on camera, but this door just opened on its own. If there's anything or anyone in this room with me, open that door. What the actual fuck? Right, look at that. There is definitely no one down there. Look. No one hiding behind the corner. What the See, it did it just before, and I was like, what's going on? And I just thought I'll get my camera out and see if it happens again. It fucking... Right. Just want to show it happening again. So, if there's anything in this room, can you... I didn't even have to finish. I don't really need to prove that there's nothing down there. You'd hear the dog go anyway. Alright, let's try again. Right, if there's anything in this room with me, or, well, yeah, if there's anything or anyone in this room right now, open the door again.
The doors began swinging open on their own, and he managed to catch it happening on several separate occasions. You can also make out distinct disembodied whispers throughout the footage. Eventually, he decided to set up security cameras around the house, and what they recorded speaks for itself. So what do you think is going on inside his home? Could you imagine living somewhere like that? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below, and until he shares more updates, this case remains open. On March 1st, a woman named Rachel and her husband Rocky moved into a new home along with their 2 cats. Not long after getting settled, things took an unsettling turn. They started hearing unexplained knocks and bumps throughout the house. Nearly every morning when Rachel walked into the kitchen, she'd find the cabinet doors ajar and the windows appeared cracked open in a way that suggested they had never fully shut. Then they began swinging open on their own into an adjacent room. Convinced she wasn't losing her mind, Rachel started paying closer attention. The activity only continued to escalate from there.
Rocky!
What?
The chair was moving. Do you see it?
Again?
What do you mean again?
What happened yesterday, too?
I'm not watching. It's always cold. It's always cold in here. I'm not watching. Not doing it. Nope, we're done.
While relaxing in the living room one evening, Rachel watched as a small rocking chair began moving by itself, swaying gently back and forth as though an invisible occupant had settled into it. For Rachel and Rocky, this was apparently not an isolated incident. A few weeks after that, while home by herself, Rachel was overcome by the persistent sensation of being watched. She hurried upstairs, but the feeling only intensified. She pulled out her phone and hit record, and within moments, something deeply unsettling was captured.
I smell something that smells like burnt cotton candy. And this is the first time I've actually felt like I've been followed up the stairs.
As she moved away from the staircase, a sharp, distinct whistle rang out from somewhere close by. What makes this particularly haunting is that Rachel never actually heard it in the moment. She had no idea it had occurred until she went back and reviewed the footage. The timing makes it even harder to dismiss, as the whistle came at the exact second she turned and walked away, almost as if something unseen was trying to draw her back. 2 weeks on, Rachel was sitting alone in the living room when a sudden loud bang erupted from the kitchen. Her stomach immediately sank. By that point, the sound had become horribly familiar, and she already had a sinking feeling about what she'd find. She grabbed her phone without hesitation and began filming. What the camera caught is not easy to rationalize.
In the kitchen, and I came into the kitchen and I noticed 2 of the cabinets open. I've got to get Rocky. Rocky! Rocky! Come here, hurry.
What?
Hurry, come on here! I was sitting right here watching La Brea, sitting in the chair, and I heard...
Good.
Rocket, listen to me. I was sitting in the chair watching La Brea. I heard noises from the kitchen. And look. No, look. When I was just in here and there were only 2 cabinets open.
Come on.
No. See, I will show you the video. I literally took the video. I was in here. There were only 2 open.
Well, you dropped the F-bombs.
2 cabinet doors swung open completely on their own. She called out for Rocky right away and brought him in to see. But by the time they both entered the kitchen together, things had escalated further. Nearly every single cabinet in the room was now hanging wide open. Rocky appeared unconvinced, but as far as Rachel is concerned, the footage says everything. Out of all the incidents documented in the house so far, this one was by far the most alarming. It doesn't appear to be anything malicious, at least not at this point. A rocking chair moving on its own, a phantom whistle in the hallway, cabinets flying open by themselves. In the grand scheme of hauntings, it could be worse. Then again, that's easy to say from where I'm sitting. If I walked into my kitchen and found every single cabinet door hanging open, I'd already be halfway down the street, absolutely losing it. For weeks, a man had been reporting strange noises reverberating throughout his home, along with objects he was certain had been moved from where he'd left them. The people closest to him weren't buying it, assuming there had to be a rational explanation behind it all. Then one night, while he was home by himself, an unexpected sound drew him toward his bedroom, and he pulled out his phone to capture whatever was waiting for him in there. See exactly what his camera picked up.
Whoa, what the Man, this is too freaky.
The moment he walked in, multiple objects appeared to shift on their own, with no one anywhere near them. The whole scene carried an unbearable tension, but the single most chilling moment came when he swung the camera in the direction of the TV. Reflected in the screen, a dark figure, in a roughly human shape, seemed to materialize out of nowhere, visible for just a few brief seconds before it was gone entirely. The man spun around immediately, but there was nothing behind him. Ever since that night, he has been firmly convinced that something he can't explain has been occupying his apartment right alongside him. Brendan has built a reputation as the kind of explorer who keeps his cool, someone with steady nerves and an unshakable sense of calm. Over the course of more than 8 years running his channel Uncharted Travel, he's pushed himself into some of the most dangerous and forgotten corners of the world. Derelict hospitals, crumbling ghost towns, factories reclaimed by overgrowth. None of it rattled him, but the night of October 31st, 2019 was different. His composure held, yet something else held on too. A quiet, creeping dread he couldn't shake loose or explain. It was the kind of bitter, wind-lashed evening where the silence itself feels oppressive. Still, Brendan packed up his gear and headed out, bound for a remote, deteriorating, abandoned prison buried deep in Canada's northern wilderness, the closest town sitting hundreds of kilometers behind him. He wasn't just dropping in for a quick look around either. He intended to sleep there. He threw his tent and supplies into the car and pointed himself toward the dark.
Actually, what I'm doing today, I'm going to be traveling about 6 hours north to an isolated prison in the middle of nowhere in Canada. I'm going to be going alone, and I'm going to be staying the night. The only people I've actually seen out this far are reservists, so that's a little bit concerning. Hopefully there's no one around where I plan on parking. I guess this is where I park here. Time for a nice hike. So here's the deal. It's 4 o'clock now. The sun sets around here around 6:30. If my orienteering is correct, it's about a 2-hour hike to the actual prison location. That gives me about a half an hour of daylight to get everything set up and ready to roll before dark hits, and then I won't be able to see anything. So I gotta make up some good ground, and hopefully I can get everything prepared in time for nighttime.
After a 6-hour drive, he finally pulled up, stepped out into the cold, and shouldered his equipment. The trees around him were perfectly still, almost unnervingly so, like the forest itself was paying attention. A 2-hour trek through dense bush followed, his footsteps swallowed by fog, his flashlight the only thing cutting through the black. Then the old prison materialized out of the dark, a looming silhouette. He stepped inside, voice controlled, but breathing just a little too carefully. His plan was to scout the building first, then find somewhere to make camp. Deep within the decaying structure, he settled on the cafeteria, got his tent up, and watched the last of the daylight disappear.
This is what the original flooring would have looked like before it got torn up. So this would have been like the stage here. It's bellowed now. With daylight fading, I decided to head back to the cafeteria and set up my camp there. What I initially thought to be the safest location to sleep in would later prove to be my worst nightmare.
The moment darkness took over, the atmosphere shifted entirely. Brendan got dinner going, trying to push down the growing unease. When he finished eating, he pressed further into the prison, venturing into sections he hadn't seen in the light. The corridors were narrow and damp, the air dead still and biting cold. He was hoping for a quiet night. Reality had other plans. Without warning, a tin can went skidding across the hallway floor ahead of him, a sharp metallic crash bouncing off every wall in the silence. Brendan stopped dead. He turned, slowly. Nothing. No one. The corridor was empty, but something had to have moved that can.
Causing some issues with the camera, so now we have a little less light. But I think we'll be okay. Okay, so that was the east stairwell, so we have to go west. Just listen to the rain.
He pushed on, but the unease clung to him. Trailing just a step behind. Was the sound just water dripping through old pipes, amplified by the hollow building? Or was something tracking his movements? His voice wavered slightly as he spoke to his camera. He tried to laugh it off, but his feet were already moving faster. Then came something new, a dragging sound from the far end of the hallway, slow and deliberate, like something heavy being pulled across concrete. Like whatever it was didn't want to be seen. He moved toward it, but the moment he reached the doorway, it stopped, as though his arrival had been anticipated, as though he'd already missed his chance.
Full of fun exploring the catacombs of the service tunnels underneath the prison, it was time to head back to camp and check in for the night. Or so I thought. This is when my luck quickly began to run out. There's something at the end of the hallway that keeps making noise. Where it came from, this room at the end.
Something at the end of that hallway keeps making itself known. Back inside his tent, Brendan tried to wind down, but the sounds outside had no interest in letting him. They multiplied. An animal? A person? Something harder to categorize? He went out to check, and came back with nothing. The unease curdled into frustration, and the frustration curdled into genuine fear. He climbed into his sleeping bag, and pulled on headphones, trying to shut the building out. It didn't work. A few minutes later, another sound, louder this time, impossible to dismiss as wind or imagination. Something was sharing that space with him. He called out, hoping to spook off what he assumed were coyotes. Instead, they moved in closer.
Hey, buddy, you want to leave me alone? It's gonna be a long night. I just want to go to sleep. Go away. Go away.
Brendan emerged from the tent gripping his knife, braced for a confrontation, but the coyotes had already melted back into the tree line. By the time morning arrived, he was physically unharmed, but he wasn't quite the same. The prison hadn't broken him. It had simply made clear that it wasn't empty. He'd made it through the night, but those hallways had felt disturbingly, undeniably alive. So, could you do what Brendan did? And what do you think was really in there with him? Our next clip comes from a Romanian man by the name of Radu Cirila. Radu's online presence has nothing to do with the paranormal. His page is filled with snapshots of everyday life and updates tied to his career in construction. Then one evening, after someone reported a strange disturbance at a property his crew had been renovating, he headed over to see what was going on. What he found when he got there is nothing short of bizarre.
Coarne să moară tata! Coarne! Să moară coarne, să moară familia mea!
Are coarne? Să moară altfel, dacă n-a pistol, băi! Bă, uite, mă! Nu-l văd! Să moară familia mea, că n-am văzut coarnele! Unde sunt la ăla, Vicu, sus? Uite! Fix pe mijloc! Pe mijloc, pe jos! Mă, n-are ce om să fie în pustietate asta! Uite, moară târmea de mult, a venit lângă geam, uite! Bă, ce om e ăsta de stă acolo? N-are ce om! Bă, uite! Bă, uite-mă la așa, cu cameră! Bă, să moară familia mea!
Uite-l! Bă, l-au prins! Ia, uite! Bă!
Dacă e om! Nu e om! Nu e om! Nu e om!
Bă!
Să moară altfel de la mă pistol, băi!
Right away, if you direct your attention to the upper window on the second floor, you can make out what looks like two pairs of glowing eyes staring out into the night. What makes it especially chilling is where they're positioned, hovering at the very top of the window frame, as though whatever they belong to is suspended upside down from the ceiling above. And then things take a turn nobody could have anticipated. A pale, white-faced figure abruptly materializes in the window, its face flickering on and off in the darkness like some kind of broken signal. When the footage is zoomed in and sharpened, the thing staring back at you does not resemble anything human. Its facial features are grotesquely warped, and every movement it makes looks deeply unnatural. So what exactly has taken up residence inside this unfinished building? Could it be a group of highly organized trespassers pulling off an elaborate scare? Or is this whole thing just an outright fabrication? The video you're about to see was originally posted on July 10th, 2022 by a TikTok creator who goes by Diego Spickers. For a while now, a quiet residential neighborhood has been gripped by deeply unsettling rumors, the kind that only get passed around in low whispers. Locals describe something that moves through the streets late at night, not in a hurry, not wandering without purpose, but progressing from house to house with what seems like calculated intention. According to some accounts, it even lingers outside certain homes just long enough to look in through the windows before fading back into the dark. Early on, most people wrote it off as gossip or overactive imaginations, just fear feeding on itself. But when multiple residents started reporting the exact same details, those stories became a lot more difficult to brush aside. Then one night, a man coming home to his tattoo shop had his own encounter, one that made every one of those rumors suddenly feel uncomfortably grounded in reality. He had gone up to the rooftop terrace to bring in the laundry that had been left out to dry. As he makes his way toward it, he freezes, because there's a figure standing nearby. What makes the moment truly chilling isn't just what he sees, but how precisely It lines up with everything his neighbors had already been describing. After he shared the footage with people in the area, several of them said they'd witnessed something similar themselves, a shape appearing briefly outside windows, watching without making a sound, then disappearing before anyone had the chance to confront it. That's where the theories start to take a darker turn. Some believe the figure may be connected to the history of the location itself, something ancient, something that hasn't been explained. In the year 2000, a Portuguese woman found herself in a deeply unsettling situation on the morning of her 60th birthday. She had lost her only daughter just a few years prior, which made celebrating feel almost impossible. Still, her husband brought her out for the day in hopes of lifting her spirits. When the two of them returned home that evening, they spotted the answering machine blinking with a string of unheard messages. The majority were from loved ones calling to wish her well, but that last message was something else entirely.
Estranha mensagem na secretária eletrônica. Foi há 2 semanas, no dia do aniversário de Dona Vera. Ela e o marido chegaram em casa à noite e encontraram 5 recados.
Telefonando, te dá abraço no dia de hoje. Beijo.
O último deles foi uma surpresa.
The recording was muffled and hard to decipher, yet 3 words managed to come through, which, translated into English, mean roughly, "Best wishes, Mom." The couple went completely still the moment they heard it. They were certain they recognized whose voice it was. To both of them, it sounded unmistakably like their deceased daughter.
Tem mais dúvidas. A voz é da filha Virgínia, que morreu há 4 anos.
Sem dúvida era minha filha. Tranquilamente. Não só eu como reconheci, como inclusive.
As though the distorted audio wasn't already enough to send chills down your spine, the answering machine's caller ID couldn't identify where the call had come from. No number was displayed whatsoever. That detail left the woman and her husband with one conclusion, that their daughter had somehow reached out to them from the other side. The story eventually made its way into the press, and was even featured in paranormal documentaries, with many viewers and researchers treating it as genuine evidence of life after death. This clip, originally posted on social media, looks like it was ripped straight out of a horror film. Except for the person who uploaded it, this was absolutely, terrifyingly real. See for yourself.
See. Astagfirullahaladzim. Astagfirullahaladzim. Siapa itu? Siapa? Siapa itu?
What unfolds is a series of loud, forceful knocks, hammering against the door, one after another. What cranks up the dread even further is that when the user goes to investigate the source of the noise, there's nobody there, not a single soul on the other side. The complete lack of any visible explanation for those relentless knocks only deepens the fear and confusion. These aggressive, unexplained strikes against the door seem to have no rational answer whatsoever. The atmosphere is suffocating, leaving everyone watching on edge and desperate for answers. So what exactly is behind these unsettling sounds? A hidden prankster, some kind of natural cause, or perhaps something far more sinister? A mother set up a surveillance camera in her daughter's bedroom, and what it captured left her absolutely horrified. She had recently taken to TikTok to share that her young daughter had begun behaving in ways that deeply unsettled her. The little girl had been telling her mother she was scared to be left alone in her room, and she kept fixating on one particular corner with an expression of pure terror on her face. What pushed the mother over the edge, though, was when her daughter came sprinting out of the room, claiming she had just heard a blood-curdling scream coming from inside. That was enough to make the mother go back and check the security camera footage for herself. Nothing could have prepared her for what she found. See for yourself what the camera picked up. Without warning, a spine-chilling scream pierced through the room. The little girl was immediately overwhelmed with panic and bolted out as fast as her legs could carry her. The sound bore a striking resemblance to a woman screaming. What made it even more unsettling was that the girl had been looking directly toward the camera at the exact moment the scream rang out, suggesting that was where it originated. After watching this footage back, the mother was left shaken and deeply frightened for her daughter's safety. She still has no explanation for what is going on inside that room. Many who have seen the video are convinced the space is haunted. Most people wouldn't dream of setting foot in a cemetery at the dead of night, but one urban explorer made that his entire mission. His destination was an old graveyard on the edge of town, completely alone, a place where the quiet runs so deep that even the faintest noise feels like it comes out of thin air. He wasn't there to mourn anyone, and he wasn't there to pay tribute. He walked through those gates with a single purpose: to see whether something on the other side would actually respond if someone was bold enough to call out to it.
Manifiéstate. Hola. Mira, se cayó. Al mismo tiempo, amigos, al mismo tiempo, mira alguien ahí al fondo. Buenas noches. Ay, Dios.
Unlike most explorers who stick to observing their environment, this guy actively provokes whatever presence might be lurking there. At one point, while trying to make contact with a possible entity, a full, sealed bottle of water begins sliding slowly across the ground on its own. Sure, you could blame the wind, except there isn't a hint of a breeze, and the sheer weight of the bottle makes that theory fall apart pretty quickly, and that wouldn't be the last answer he'd get. A little while later, as he moves deeper among the headstones, a heavy metal cross suddenly jerks violently, as though something had thrown its full force against it. Up until that moment, he seemed like the one steering the investigation, but from here on, it feels like the cemetery has taken over that role entirely.
Ahí está. Uy, ahí está. ¿Podemos verte? Ay, ya madre, ¿qué fue eso? Perdón, amigos, perdón, pero algo habló. Ahí está, asomó. Se volvió a asomar, se volvió a asomar, perdón, amigos, perdón. Algo se está asomando ahí. Ay, ya madre.
Nearing a small chapel, he spots a curtain behaving strangely, shifting in a way that doesn't quite make sense. For a brief moment, it genuinely looks as if someone is standing just behind it, trying to pull it back. But when he swings the camera toward the interior of the building, there is nobody there whatsoever. The stillness closes back in around him, though not for long.
Ay, ya madre. Uy, hola. ¿Quién eres? Oye, escucha. No manches, lo vieron. Uy, alguien está.
Despite everything he's already witnessed, he presses on through the grounds, demanding that whatever is out there show itself one more time, and this time, what comes back feels far more personal.
Mira, se cayó. Uy, no manchen. ¿Alguien está aquí conmigo? ¿Alguien está aquí conmigo? Sí. ¿Alguien está aquí? Se mueve eso. Se mueve eso, amigos. Se está moviendo eso. Se los juro que está moviendo. Bien.
A metal cross drops directly in his path, and almost simultaneously, the gate of a nearby chapel begins rattling violently, sending a sharp, reverberating crash through the entire cemetery. For the first time all night, that confidence of his seems to completely evaporate. Maybe every bit of this was an elaborate setup. Or maybe there are certain places where pushing for an answer is the worst call you can make, because sometimes the only response you are ever going to get was the silence you were trying to break. Reddit user Manda Burke and her husband decided to visit the notoriously haunted Hillview Manor, a former mental asylum situated in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. According to Manda, they moved through the building alongside a tour group, using EVP meters that had been handed out by their guide, though she says the experience was fairly uneventful at first. That changed when they started picking up a strange shuffling noise coming from somewhere down one of the corridors, which they initially dismissed without much concern. Then, without any warning, the sound transformed into thundering footsteps that seemed to be barreling straight toward them at full speed. Manda has described the whole ordeal as one of the most terrifying moments of her life. Now, I'll admit, I typically only feature footage that contains something you can actually see or hear on camera, but the sheer panic in this group's reaction, combined with just how hard and fast those people hit the ground, makes this genuinely difficult to brush off. Something clearly came charging down that hallway. It's also worth pointing out that Manda and her companions aren't paranormal investigators. They don't run a YouTube channel, and they're not chasing social media clout on TikTok. She simply uploaded this clip to Reddit because she wanted to share what happened to her. Deeply strange and disturbing chain of paranormal events has emerged out of Japan, centered on a man named Makoto, who was handed a collection of mysterious and allegedly cursed items by someone he knew named Nakano. What started as a simple request from a spiritual figure to film these unsettling objects quickly spiraled into a genuinely chilling brush with the supernatural. In footage documenting his ordeal, Makoto positions a camera to record the supposedly haunted items through the night, not really anticipating anything unusual. But as the hours tick by, a series of deeply strange occurrences begin to take shape. One of the more spine-tingling moments captured on film centers, on a doll propped up on a chair, one of the allegedly cursed objects, and you need to see this for yourself. The footage alone is enough to make your skin crawl, and it strongly suggests there's something genuinely sinister about these items. But the real terror surfaces when word gets out that Nakano's apartment has been consumed by fire, the very same person who passed those cursed objects to Makoto in the first place. The scorched remains of the building stand as a grim and sobering testament to what can happen when you invite the paranormal into your life. As this story continues to unfold, it becomes harder and harder to dismiss the idea that these allegedly cursed objects carry very real and very dangerous consequences. So what's your verdict? Is this the real deal or an elaborate hoax? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let me know what you make of this one. On October 24th, turned 20, a French TikTok creator who goes by the name Starcher uploaded a clip documenting what she claims was a deeply unsettling experience she had while trying to fall asleep. The video starts with her lying in bed in a pitch-dark room, but it doesn't take long before it becomes clear that something has grabbed her attention. Look closely, and you'll notice what appears to be a dark, smoke-like form drifting through the space around her. As the clip goes on, the shape seems to inch toward her as she stays still in the darkness. But here's where things get really interesting. The moment the light flicks on, the shadowy mass seems to disappear entirely. At one point, she's also seen raising across toward it, which tells you she wasn't exactly calm about whatever she thought she was witnessing. As you'd expect, the comments section erupted with theories. Some viewers are convinced this is genuine paranormal activity, while others think it could be explained by camera exposure, shadows, the way darkness plays tricks on a lens, or even a staged effect. Regardless of which side you fall on, the fact that this thing seemingly vanishes the instant the light comes on is what's kept people coming back to the footage. What makes it all the more frustrating is that we never find out what unfolded once the light stayed on, leaving the whole thing without any real resolution. So what's your take on what was lurking in that room? A simple optical illusion, or something that doesn't have such an easy explanation? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. It was just after 1 in the morning when a truck driver found himself navigating a stretch of highway that plenty of motorists go out of their way to avoid. The road has built up a deeply unsettling reputation over time. A long string of accidents has been reported there, and more than a few of them proved fatal. That dark history has given rise to local legends surrounding the route, with some residents insisting it's cursed and calling for it to be closed permanently. For a lot of drivers, though, taking a different road simply isn't possible. On August 18th, 2023, Gaston Rodriguez and his co-driver were making their way along this exact stretch. To take the edge off the late-night drive, the two had some upbeat music playing as they pushed forward through the darkness. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Then, without any warning at all, something materialized directly ahead of them. The whole thing was caught on dashcam footage. See for yourself. As the truck rolls down the road, something strange comes into view up ahead. A figure appears to cross a dirt path, running alongside the route, then vanishes almost instantly. The movement lasts only a second, but it's distinct enough that once the video was reviewed, it immediately stood out. According to what was recorded, neither Gaston nor his co-driver registered the figure in the moment. It wasn't until they sat down and watched the footage back that the sighting hit them, leaving both men genuinely shaken. What makes it so hard to explain is the sheer speed of it. The figure is there, crossing the path, and then it's simply gone before ever reaching the road itself. Given everything that has happened on this particular stretch of highway, a number of viewers have drawn the conclusion that what appears in the clip could be the spirit of someone who perished there. Whether or not that holds any truth is ultimately up to the individual watching. But whatever the explanation may be, this is a piece of footage that's hard to brush aside. So tell me, What do you think was moving across that path? The following video comes from a group called the 3 Haunted Explorers, who set up cameras inside what appears to be a residential space and left them running overnight using a night vision phone application, the green filtered kind that turns every shadow into something worth staring at. In the first location, they positioned the camera in front of a white dresser and taped 4 playing cards to its drawer faces, seemingly as makeshift trigger objects, items placed deliberately to detect any unseen movement. Watch. Without anyone entering the room, one of the dresser drawers slowly slides open on its own. It pauses, then quietly closes again. The investigators believed it was the first sign that something in the house was responding to their setup. But according to them, that was only the beginning. Watch. In another room, a chair begins rotating by itself. Not suddenly, not as if it had been bumped, and later that same night, something even stranger appears. Some viewers believe all 3 events are connected. In paranormal investigations, objects like playing cards, toys, and chairs are often used as trigger items under the belief that an intelligent presence may manipulate them to acknowledge the investigators. If that's the case here, the activity appears to progress, from moving a drawer to rotating a chair to what some interpret as a partial visual manifestation. Whether these were unrelated coincidences or signs of something becoming increasingly willing to reveal itself is a question the footage leaves unanswered. Quick thing before we continue, all of our videos are now available on Spotify too, so if that's somewhere you already find yourself late at night, every compilation we've made is waiting there for you. Whichever way you'd rather watch, the link's in the description. Now back to the video. This next clip was recorded inside what appears to be an empty school building late at night, sometime around 8:16 p.m., according to the clock on one of the classroom screens. No one else is around, the hallways are dark, and a woman makes her way through the building alone, phone in hand. She enters one of the classrooms, where an interactive whiteboard is on and playing a children's educational video, which in an empty school at night is already unsettling enough on its own. She walks up to it and manually presses the power button. The screen goes black. Watch.
So, of course, I'm the night custodian, so I'm usually here at night. And I was just getting ready to vacuum my classrooms, and I can hear something. This TV turned on by itself, and it's playing some YouTube shit. That shouldn't even be open. When you first turn these on, you have to click on the application. Sort of creepy that it's playing kid cartoons and shit. I'm gonna turn it off, but this should have not even turned on by itself. So I'm gonna show you guys. When these turn on by themselves, like let's say it turns on by itself for some reason. First of all, it has to load. Sorry, I'm sort of freaked out now because this TV keeps turning on by itself. Okay. So these view boards, when they first turn on, this is the screen that you should see. There shouldn't be like any videos playing or YouTube or nothing, because you physically have to click on these to get into the applications, to get into whatever you're trying to do on them. So even if these accidentally turn on, or if they were on a timer and it expires, anything, this is a screen that should pop up. So the fact that it was on with YouTube and a kid show, I could hear talking, it really did scare me. And now I'm sort of freaked out because weird stuff happens like this to me all the time. So I just wanted to show you guys, like, if it came on, this is what it should have been, not a kid show. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back off, and it better not turn back on because I will freak out. I'm already freaked out. Okay, now it's time to vacuum. That's what I was gonna do in the...
According to the woman, she spent a long time trying to think of a logical explanation, a scheduled update, a faulty power button, automatic startup settings. Nothing she came up with seemed to fit what she'd witnessed, but what unsettled her most was that it didn't only happen once. Watch.
In the first place. Okay, so I'm honestly freaked out. I just got done vacuuming in here, so I turned off my vacuum and I hear something again. Somebody please explain this to me. I'm so freaked out. I don't even want to go in here, but I gotta turn off this TV. I have a fucking kid ghost in here wanting to learn at night. Damn it.
Hank's new train.
Won't let me turn it off.
Sue takes the screws.
And now it's stuck.
Here is some glue.
It won't even sleep. What the
Fix
fuck?
Yellow's new hat. I can fix
Okay. I swear, that TV better not come on again. Stop turning on the TV! Okay, I'm out of here.
Some paranormal enthusiasts believe electronic devices are among the easiest objects for alleged spirits to influence, claiming that televisions, radios, and interactive displays can be manipulated because they already rely on electrical energy. In schools especially, stories often revolve around toys, classroom equipment, or educational devices activating without warning after hours, leading some investigators to speculate that locations strongly associated with children may produce reports involving childlike phenomena. But one detail continues to bother viewers. Why did it keep showing children's program? The following video was recorded by a woman who was lying in bed, not expecting anything unusual, just resting with her back to the window, when something started to feel wrong. She rolled over, and that's when she noticed it. A dark, amorphous shape pressed against the inside of her window blind, like a hand, completely still, just sitting there in the glow of the backlit glass. She set her phone up and left it recording, not moving, barely breathing. Watch. What you hear is just as unsettling as what you see. That shape holds its position for an uncomfortably long time before disappearing, and when she tries to ignore it, the tapping starts. A clean, deliberate 3-knock sequence against the glass, then again, louder and more aggressive the second time, as if whatever was out there knew she was listening. She whispers for it to stop. She's crying. She's telling herself it's okay. And then the scraping begins. A continuous dragging sound moving along the exterior wall that lasts for nearly 20 seconds. Some viewers believe this is exactly the kind of escalating response that's associated with intelligent hauntings. The idea that something will grow bolder when it senses fear rather than retreat from it. Others think the shape could have been a person standing just outside, which honestly makes it no less terrifying. It didn't stop there. The following night, the tapping came back, and this time she decided she wasn't just going to lie there. Watch.
okay? It's back. It has never done this 2 nights in a row. Ugh. You were telling me to go yell at it and to look. Okay. Okay. Stole this bar light from my mom. You wanna mess with me? Fine. I'll do what you look like. There's the light facing the window. Okay. Leave me alone! Nothing's there. You heard the tapping, right? Oh my god. Nope. Nope.
She grabs a flashlight, illuminates the blinds from the sill, and when the tapping gets louder and more rapid in response to the light, she yanks the blinds up and yells at whatever's out there, only to find the window well completely empty, except for one thing, a scorpion sitting on a plank at the bottom. No animal, no person, nothing that could have been producing those sounds. Skeptics will point to the scorpion as a mundane explanation. It was simply nesting in the window well and tapping as it moved around. But that doesn't explain the shape from the night before, and it doesn't explain why the tapping seemed to respond to her actions, growing more aggressive every time she made a move. 2 nights, the same window, something that seems to know she's there. What exactly is it knocking for, and what would have happened if she'd opened that window the first time? The following video was recorded by a man who, for weeks, had been brushing off what people around him kept warning him about, that something was happening near his property, something tied to the shed out back. He didn't believe it at first, but night after night, he kept seeing things, hearing things, and eventually, he couldn't just sit inside anymore. So at 3:21 in the morning on May 10th, he positioned himself and started recording the shed from a distance, a beige single-story structure in his backyard with blue double doors and windows on either side. Watch.
At this point, I just don't know what is going on. I don't know. I mean, what is this and what is going on?
What he captures over the course of that recording is genuinely difficult to dismiss. There are small, orb-like points of light that pop up near the shed and vanish almost immediately. Then the light inside the shed itself, a shed that, by all appearances, should be empty and locked, begins flashing on and off with no visible cause. But if you pay close attention to the zoomed-in shots of the right-hand door, you'll notice something marich behind the window panes. A dark, shapeless mass shifting back and forth in the lower section of the door. And at one point, what looks like a head-shaped silhouette drops down suddenly out of view. Some people watching this think it could be residual energy, activity that repeats itself on a kind of loop, unaware of the living world around it. Others think something is actively hiding, something that knows when it's being watched. Skeptics point to reflections and camera artifacts, which is fair given how grainy and dark the footage is, but that explanation gets harder to hold on to when the shape deliberately ducks. Whatever's inside that shed, it doesn't seem to want to be seen. So what do you think it is? The following video was recorded by a man who's been documenting strange activity in his home for some time, and according to him, it's been building steadily, from an overwhelming smell of decay, to finding bones and teeth in his basement, to what he describes as the Bible incidents, a phrase he drops without much explanation, as if whoever's watching already knows. On this particular day, he's playing a slow, melancholic melody on his electronic piano when his dog suddenly barks at something off-screen. He stops mid-song and heads toward the basement to check, leaving the camera running. Watch.
Never leave this door open, and I just walked in here. This motherfucker. Oh my god, I'm so sick of this shit.
With no one in the room, a single sustained low note plays on the piano, the same note he opened with, and holds there in the silence. Then he returns, grabs the camera, and walks through the house in a visibly shaken state, eventually reaching the basement door, which is wide open. He insists he never leaves it open. For viewers who've followed cases like this, that detail matters more than the piano note, because it suggests that whatever is happening isn't staying in one room. Some believe certain presences replay familiar sounds, residual energy looping through the space it inhabited, especially if something occurred near that basement before the current resident ever moved in. Others think electronics, particularly digital keyboards, can misfire without human input, and they'd point to that explanation first. But that doesn't account for the door. That's the part that sticks. Several days later, he set up a security camera in his study, and when he let his dog outside that night, his dog refused to go, instead sitting directly in front of that same basement door. He eventually coaxed him away with treats. About 15 minutes later, when he came back inside, this is what he found. Watch. A book had been thrown forcefully off the top of the bookshelf while he was outside, traveling horizontally across the room before landing behind the armchair. When he picks it up, it's a holy Bible. He mentioned Bible incidents before, and now one has landed on his floor while he was out of the room, thrown by nothing he could see. The dog already knew something was wrong before any of this happened. The question that keeps coming back is a simple one. What exactly is it that keeps finding its way out of that basement? The following video was filmed from outside, number 43, a weathered, teal-sided place with peeling paint and darkened windows. During the day, moving past it slowly, with what looks like a phone pointed up at the upper floor. Nothing obvious at first, just a tired-looking house under overcast light. Watch.
Yeah. Y'all hear that shit? Okay. Listen. So the guy that lived here moved, right? He left and he said that he was going to live in his car because his wife died or something like that. I don't know, some weird shit, right? And I have not seen this guy since. It's been like, I don't know, a year and a half. These two windows stay open during the blizzard that just went by. Them shits were open. Rain, sleet, shine. I kid you not, the window is always open. I have not seen anybody come in or out of this in like a year and a half, 2 years. Listen, every like 2-3 months, you'll randomly hear some fucking screaming coming from this house, yo. Listen, it's gonna happen again. Watch. It's gonna happen again. Not because I'm f***ing. Watch. You hear it? It's gonna happen again. Somebody's about to walk by. I don't want to get them on the camera.
In the top right window on the upper floor, a dark, head and shoulders silhouette appears for barely a second. No features, no movement, just a shape that fills the glass and then disappears. It happens more than once. Some viewers think it's a person standing inside, which would be the simplest explanation, except the shape doesn't behave the way a person passing a window normally does. It doesn't drift or move through the frame, it materializes and vanishes. Others think it's something that doesn't want to be seen clearly, only noticed. That distinction matters, and the fact that whoever filmed this kept the camera on that window says they thought so too. The following videos both deal with something specific and deeply unsettling. An entity that doesn't just move through a home, but borrows the identity of the person living there. In the first clip, a woman had been recording strange activity in her house for some time, describing it as a melting pot of paranormal things happening to her on a regular basis. One morning, while the house was quiet, she set her phone down near a closed interior door, a door she was nowhere near, and captured something on audio that stopped her cold. Watch.
Hey. Hey. Hey.
I think that is one of the creepiest things that I have ever caught on camera and that I have ever experienced in my life. That sounds almost identical to my voice. Like, I thought it was 100%, and then I listened back to that recording and I was like, something's off. Which is the way it goes with these things, it's always almost correct. I was careful to not respond to it, and after I took that video, I walked away and came back later. But yeah, I guess it's using my voice on me now, which is weird. If this is even the same thing, who knows? We have a melting pot of paranormal things happening in this house and to me at all times. But yeah, that was creepy. I'm so glad that I started recording because no one would believe me without that. Has anyone else ever heard their own voice? That's so weird. Like, I've heard other voices, but my own.
From behind that closed door, a disembodied female voice says, "Hey," 3 times, calm, clear, slightly echoed, as if coming from a hallway just on the other side. And according to her, it sounds almost identical to her own voice. She says she was careful not to respond to it, and you can hear in her retelling exactly how unsettled she is. What makes this harder to dismiss is the detail she added afterward. Her husband told her he'd heard the exact same thing coming from that same door the night before, and had simply ignored it. Both of them, separately, hearing what sounds like her voice calling out from a place she wasn't standing. In paranormal research and folklore alike, this falls into a category often described as mimicry, an entity that reproduces the voice, appearance, or behavior of someone familiar, typically someone who lives in the space. Some believe mimics do this to provoke a response, to get the target to answer back, or let their guard down. Others think it's something older and stranger, an intelligence that absorbs identity rather than simply copying it. The second clip pushes that idea even further. This time, a man was moving through his home at night when he turned a corner and panned his camera into an adjacent room. Watch.
Babe? Yeah? What's up? Are you upstairs? Yeah. Why?
Standing completely still in the corner of the room, facing away from him, is a figure with long dark hair and a dark oversized shirt, a figure that looks exactly like his wife. He whispers her name. She answers, from a completely different floor of the house. The two of them confirm out loud, in real time, that she isn't in that room, but the figure stands there anyway. The slowed down replay makes it clearer. A distinct silhouette, motionless, positioned in the corner with its back to the camera. A doppelganger, in the original folkloric sense, is not just a look-alike. Across many European traditions, seeing a perfect double of a living person is considered a deeply ominous sign, sometimes a warning, sometimes something far more predatory attempting to pass as someone trusted. Skeptics will argue staging, and that's a fair point to raise. But the calm, muffled confirmation of the wife's voice from upstairs is the detail that's difficult to script away. 2 clips, 2 homes, 1 pattern, and neither person has figured out how to make it stop. Whatever these things are, they seem to understand exactly who they're imitating, and that alone is what makes this so hard to shake. Quick thing before we continue, all of our videos are now available on Spotify too, so if that's somewhere you already find yourself late at night, every compilation we've made is waiting there for you. Whichever way you'd rather watch, the link's in the description. Now back to the video. Now, in this next clip, someone has a wardrobe in their home that they keep tied shut with a lanyard, and at night, they decided to film what's inside it. That detail alone should give you pause. The wardrobe itself is a plain 2-door wooden armoire, nothing obviously threatening from the outside. But the fact that whoever owns this felt the need to keep it fastened closed says something. There's no explanation offered, no context given, just a tattooed hand reaching into frame, untying the lanyard and pulling the door open. Watch.
So I'm sitting here watching a movie and my cabinet yanked. Like, you can still see it moving a little bit. Like the thing I have it tied shut with, and usually it's tighter than that. And see? Look, I told you. I told you something was yanking on it. And it's weird because it's been a long time since it messed with this cabinet. Hello? You want to do it again? Are you trying to get the doors open? Oh, I would take that as a yes. Hello? Is there a reason why? Did you move the door? Yo. Nah, come on, man. And my phone just glitched out, yo, at the same time.
What's inside is a dense, carefully arranged collection of porcelain dolls, clown figurines, horror books, specifically the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark series, a framed photograph of an unknown man, a red skull, a small collection of knives, and at the bottom, the box for a Ouija Junior board. The whole thing is completely silent. No reaction, no narration. Just the slow, shaky pan across row after row of glassy, unblinking doll eyes staring back at the camera. Some viewers think collections like this are harmless curiosities. Others believe that objects, especially dolls and Ouija boards, stored together in an enclosed space, can act as a kind of anchor for whatever energy they've absorbed over time. What's keeping that door tied shut? This next clip was recorded inside someone's home during the day, bright light coming through the window, a quiet living room. Nothing unusual on the surface. The man filming, a teenager or young adult, points his phone at a turned-off TV screen, using it as a mirror to show the room behind him. And that's when he notices it. Watch.
Is it? Am I tripping or is that? There's someone sitting on my couch, but like, there's no one there. What? But like, there's no one there. There's no one on the couch. Oh my God, it's gone.
In the reflection, a dark, human-shaped figure is clearly sitting upright on the couch. Distinct head, shoulders, torso, but when he pans to the actual couch, it's completely empty. When he looks back at the reflection, the figure is gone. His voice says it all. What, then? Oh my God, it's gone. Some believe what he caught is a residual apparition, an energy imprint that only registers through indirect surfaces, which would explain why it appeared in the reflection, but not in the room itself. You decide what that figure was doing on that couch, and whether it knew it had been seen. This next clip comes from a man who says his circuit breakers have been tripping almost every night, and he's got nowhere else to go. Speaking in Spanish directly to the camera, he explains the situation while moving through his home in complete darkness, the only light coming from his flashlight. Tonight he's had enough. He grabs the camera and starts recording, telling whoever's watching that this is happening to him nearly every single night, that the breakers keep cutting out, and that he has no choice but to keep living there. His voice is already strained before he's even made it down the hallway. Watch.
Chicos, comienzo a grabar. Se me acaba de apagar las palancas otra vez. Se saltaron las jodidas palancas una noche más. Me está sucediendo casi todas las noches, ¿vale? Y que tenga que seguir viviendo aquí porque no tengo dónde ir. ¿Qué cojones es eso, tío? No, 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 no. No! 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 Voy a llamar.
As the flashlight beam sweeps right, a tall, thin, dark humanoid figure is standing completely still behind a sheer white curtain, and the moment he sees it, the footage goes chaotic. He screams, runs back down the hall, slams a door behind him, and then something on the other side of that door bangs back, hard. If you focus on those final seconds, you can hear him whimpering, breathing in pure panic, repeating that he's going to call someone, though it's unclear who he thinks can help at that hour. That figure behind the curtain is what's drawn the most attention. It's tall, unnervingly thin, and doesn't move even when the flashlight lands directly on it. Some viewers immediately connected it to what's often called a shadow person, a dark humanoid presence that many describe as featureless, motionless, and deeply aware of whoever's watching it. Others think this could be something more like a residual apparition, an energy imprinted into the space. But what nobody can explain is that bang on the door. What was standing on the other side of it? This next clip was recorded by Larissa's home security camera during the night. A static, wide-angle Xfinity camera mounted high in the corner of her living room, watching over 2 couches and a front door, while her brother slept alone inside. Larissa wasn't home, but she had access to the live feed and could speak directly into the room through the camera's 2-way audio. Her brother was deep asleep on the far couch. You can actually hear him snoring. When, at around the 1-second mark, the front door begins to swing inward, slowly and silently, all on its own. No wind, no one near it. The door drifts to about halfway open and stops there, and then the infrared light cuts out entirely for 3 seconds, plunging the room into near total darkness before flickering back on. Watch.
What door? Okay. Now. How's your door even open, Larissa? Seriously, man. How's your door even open? The door was locked. How's it even open? Fuck, man. No, I'm not doing nothing. Your cat's fucking here. I'm not doing this, dude. You should be asleep, man. You should be asleep. You should, huh? What? The cat's here, Larissa. Why is the door even fucking open? Why? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Because when I went to bed, the door was closed and locked.
Watching all of this in real time from somewhere else, starts calling through the camera, "Wake up, the door is open," and her brother stirs, confused and groggy, before walking over and closing it. What follows is the part that's hard to dismiss. He checks the door, repeats out loud that it was closed and locked when he went to bed. And when Larissa asks if he could have gotten up and opened it himself, he insists he didn't. The cat was in the room the whole time, which he points out himself. That rules out a pet nudging it. Some viewers think a pressure differential or a faulty latch could explain a slow door swing, but is that really what happened here? This next video was recorded inside what looks like someone's living room late at night. A cluttered, dimly lit space that already feels off before anything actually happens. Red string lights run down the side of a large wooden hutch, casting a warm glow over the mess on the floor. And right at the base of that hutch, a porcelain Pierrot clown doll in a gold and black outfit sits facing the hallway. Further down that hall, a pile of Raggedy Ann dolls is stacked on a chair, and through an open doorway at the far end, the back room is completely dark. The person filming holds the camera low and steady, trained on that hallway, and for nearly half a minute, nothing moves. Watch.
I don't like them footsteps, man. Especially not that bag moving. Sounded like my daughter's door. Like, nope, nope, nope. I was so focused on that noise at my daughter's door, I didn't even see that going shut. Footsteps are crazy, man. Yeah, come on, dude. I know y'all hear that whispering. Yeah, fuck footsteps, dude. Sorry for my language. I really just don't want this door shutting on my face. Get back a little bit. I swear I keep hearing voices.
Some viewers immediately focused on the dolls, particularly the clown, and the collection of dolls. While there's no evidence that dolls themselves are paranormal, they've occupied a unique place in ghost stories for centuries. Because they resemble people without actually being alive, they've often been used in folklore as symbols of vessels, objects believed by some traditions to attract or temporarily house spiritual energy. Modern paranormal stories have only reinforced that reputation, especially when unusual activity is reported in homes where large antique doll collections are kept. Skeptics, however, point to the house itself. Older homes can carry sounds in strange ways, making footsteps from outside, neighboring rooms, or even expanding floorboards seem far closer than they really are. Whisper-like noises can also be created by distant conversations, electronics, or audio compression in low-light recordings. But you be the judge.